And hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here speaking. We are live streaming today over LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X with Nicole Yeates. Nicole Yeates, how are you today, my amazing friend?
I am fabulous. Thank you, Ed. Yes, it's wonderful to be alive, and it's a beautiful sunny day here in Brisbane.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And I have to apologise as well. Edwards here screwed up the time zone calculations so right now between Brisbane and Sydney, there's a 1 hour difference, and I totally screwed up the time zone calculation. I don't know how I did it, but I screwed it up. So I apologise that for Nicole, and thank you for being so cool about things.
No, my pleasure. Hey, a lot of people get confused about that time difference. It stuffed me up more than once.
Yeah, because the way I understand it, right, you guys in Brisbane, you guys are the normal ones who are consistent. We in Sydney, we keep changing it to try and maximise our sunlight. Is that right? I think it's something weird like that.
That's right. Yes. You guys get an hour more sunlight a day.
Oh, there we go. We're stealing your sunlight. Now, Nicole, now you're a brain health expert, a mind health expert, and we're going to talk about brain health, but you've become a big keynote speaker. I saw you speak at that wonderful event in Sydney, in St. Leonard's, actually. Tell us about your foray into keynote speaking. You've done some cool gigs lately. Tell us all about it and how it's all coming along for you.
Yeah. I've done a few big gigs lately, which has been wonderful. I did one in October at the Brisbane Convention Centre for a university cohort. So that was the HUG group. And, I spoke about brain optimization, brain health, getting peak performance, around study, about organization, focus, memory. Basically, I help people to get brain fit, as in improve their memory, focus, productivity, and grit through brain optimization strategies, neuroscience-based tools. And just recently, I spoke at the Sydney Convention Centre.
I see that.
Yes, for the Happiness and Its Causes conference, which was a 2-day conference, which was amazing. It was such a wonderful event with so many different speakers, and I did my, Find Your Neuro Grit by Getting Brain Fit talk with that one. That was to a crowd of about 600-700 people, which was amazing.
And I just want to ask you, just so you know, friends, I've got my phone right here. I'm seeing your comments in real time, so like, repost, comment, connect with Nicole Yeates, who's amazing. And tell us, what are some of the highlights of your keynote? What were some of the main talking points and ideas you're getting across to the audience?
Yeah, so basically I start the keynote with a bit of humor, and then I go into my story of coming back from a vegetative state, with a prognosis of expect death or life in a vegetative state after a severe traumatic brain injury at the age of 16. As you know, I died 3 times, and the doctors had a very bleak outlook for my future, basically relegated to a disability pension and a sheltered workshop type environment. But that's not what I wanted for my life. So I rebuilt my brain, rewired my brain, and now I get the privilege of helping other people reach their true potential through rewiring their brains.
Yeah. Well, you're sharper than most people I know. So there you go. So you went from vegetative state to sharper than most people I know. So that was amazing. And just want to check in. We got one of our friends with us. We've got Jeremy Ruditis with us. Jeremy Ruditis, all the way from Michigan, the USA. We love you, Jeremy. Big welcome. If you just come in, like, repost, comment, say like it. Cool. Now,
hi, Jeremy.
Well, we love you, man. Love Jeremy. Now, I want to give a quick segue here. I know you told the story a million times, and me asking you to tell it again will probably reduce your brain fitness. But do you want to tell us very? So I apologize for. I know you tell us a million times. Tell us very quickly what actually happened in your brain injury and how you died a few times, and why you're just so hard to kill.
Yes. Apparently, I am. I've been on life support twice during my life, and yes, there's just no stopping me. But that's one of my advantages.
On a running note, we had this wonderful joke that it's like a time travel story. You can't kill Nicole. So if you hold a gun to Nicole's head, it won't go off, right? If you pick up a bat and try and swing it, if you try and pick up a bat and swing it, your shoulder will go out. So there's nothing you can do. You're like that girl from Deadpool 2. You cannot be killed with convention. No matter what happens, you just don't die. That's my theory. You're Domino from Deadpool 2.
Yes, I hope to maintain that trend too. No, well, at the age of 16, I was living in New Zealand, and back then you could get your license at just 15. Crazy. Yeah. And how many 15-year-olds would you trust with your car?
Just to interrupt, we've got our friend Janine Lopez with us. Janine Lopez, I actually told her your story yesterday, and Janine Lopez, that lady I introduced you to on LinkedIn, is listening right now.
Great. Hi, Janine.
Anyway, sorry, please carry on, Nicole.
Okay, so I began work at the age of 14 and got my first tax return by the time I was 16. So my first tax return wasn't enough to buy a car, unfortunately. So instead I bought a motorbike. So while Mum was at work and unable to sort of argue with me about buying a motorbike, I looked in the classifieds and found this bike for just $100. Anyway, the former owner gave me some basic instructions on how to use it. And, I practiced in my backyard. Mum got home and was absolutely horrified, but anyway, that's another story.
Did you have to get a motorbike license in those?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, so you had your motorbike license. You bought this bike for $100, and you're busy playing with it in the backyard, getting it.
The other way around. So I got the motorbike. I walked it home on the footpath.
Sure, you did. But carry on. Yeah, you walked it home. Please.
Practiced in the backyard. Then I went and did a motorcycle course. Yeah. But on this particular night, it was a cold and rainy Friday night, 19th of June, 1987 in Christchurch, New Zealand. And I was excited about riding my bike into town to watch my friends play basketball. So I'm ready to go. It was about 6 p.m. But Mum, she begs me not to take my motorbike out because of some ridiculous bad feeling she had.
Yeah.
So we argued. I stamped my foot and said, I'm 16 and I can do what I want. Left the house.
So whatever, I'll do what I want. Whatever, I'll do what I want. Whatever.
So as I'm driving along, it's cold and dark, and the lights on my motorbike just went out as I'm approaching a roundabout.
Ooh.
And it was too late to stop. So my plan was to get to the other side of the roundabout, pull over and figure out what had gone wrong with my lights and keep going. But I never got to the other side of the roundabout. I don't remember the impact, but I was hit by a man in his mid-20s. He kept going. I got entangled on my motorbike. My motorbike got entangled on his bumper bar. And as he sped from the scene, he dragged my useful body along that cold, hard concrete for about 200 meters. And he kept going further and dragging my motorbike for about 1,000 meters.
Oh, God. And so you were lying there bleeding out, and what
middle of the road.
Bleeding out, dying.
Yeah, that's where I had my first near-death experience on the road. I saw my father, who died when I was 2 or 3. But I was resuscitated by a nurse who just happened to be passing by. He thought I was a jacket in the middle of the road and pulled over to pick it up and found me. Lo and behold, he was a nurse at the local spinal unit who had oxygen in his car.
Oh, God, yeah.
My lucky day. So they rushed me to hospital. I died under the CAT scan this second time. That's my most vivid near-death experience. And remained in a coma.
Just stop there. As a guy who again, I've only died once, so I'm only a third of awesome as you are, right? Tell us about your near-death experience, if you don't mind me asking. Only a few thousand people are watching. What actually happened?
Yeah, well, like as I mentioned before, the first time I died, I saw my dad. He was just standing on the side of the road. We didn't talk, communicate in any way. It was just a presence to sort of say, you're not alone.
Your dad was deceased at the time, is that right?
That's right. Dad died at age 30. Yeah, I was only 3 years old when he passed.
So your deceased dad was there with you in that experience?
Yeah. And then when I died the second time, I saw the yellow light and I saw Dad. And Dad said to me, come on, sassafras. And I said to him, what about Mum? She needs me.
Yeah.
And then I heard the higher being, whoever it may be, said to me, the spirit said to me, it's not your time yet. You've got more to teach. And I had a larger conversation in that, which I expand more in my book. But essentially, yeah, I chose to come back here.
Wow.
And I'm fulfilling my teaching role, as I believe, teaching other people to get brain fit.
Wow, incredible. It's interesting, actually. Again, I don't want to hijack my story because your story is better, but just very quickly, adding to that, in my main near-death experience, I was chatting to one of my ancestors, right? And I remember what was interesting is I come from even though I come from an Arabic background, I don't speak, my Arabic's awful, right? But what was interesting is my ancestor was talking to me in Arabic, but I understood exactly what they were saying. If that makes sense, right? And what was interesting, again, what was funny, tragically funny, you know how I almost died earlier in the year from that spider bite, right? I got really sick from that.
Yeah.
He was back again to say hello.
Oh, wow.
And he said to me, and I don't know if I was dreaming, but he said to me, Ed, I think you need medical attention, basically.
Good advice.
Yeah, he goes, Ed, I think you need, he was basically in Arabic, oh, hi, Ed, it's me again, your ancestor who thinks you're awesome. Can you please get some medical attention? I think you got a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
And what was interesting when I actually had to get surgery that day, long story, but what was interesting, after I got that, the actual doctor said to me, you're about 2 days off your heart stopping.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's we've had some close calls. I nearly died on the operating table in hospital here in Brisbane only, that was about 9 years ago.
Really? You didn't tell me that one. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, look, I've got endometriosis, and basically it was surgery to remove some cysts from my ovaries, and essentially they perforated my bowel during surgery but didn't realize it, sewed me up and sent me home. So I ended up with septicemia and was rushed back to hospital via emergency. And yeah, they had to put me on life support again. That was the second time. I was on life support for about 5 days that time. Yeah.
That kills people in war. Like if you get shot in the bowel or the liver, you die from your own poisoning.
Well, put it this way, my organs were already shutting down because when they got me to the theatre, because they had to call all the hospital staff back into the theatre, by the time they got me to theatre, my veins were disappearing because my organs were shutting down and they had to put the anaesthetic in my toe.
So you're actually on the way out. You were almost.
Yeah, I was on the way out.
You were almost a corpse on the table.
Yep.
There we go. So as I said, you're very hard to kill. So again, you are Domino from, for those watching, Google Domino from Deadpool 2. She's that cool black chick that her superpower is unlimited luck. So basically, she can't be killed. Whatever happens, sorry, you like her. You just cannot be killed.
and there is a bit of a theory sort of going wrong that there's certain enzymes or things that are released when you're getting into that near-death state, and that's why you have these visions. And that's all well and good as a theory, but my father, as I mentioned, called me sassafras. Now, apparently that was a nickname he called me as a baby because he had a cute, cuddly, fat little possum as a kid, which he named Sassafras, and I was cute, fat, and cuddly too, so I got Sassafras. But Mum had never told me that.
So that freaked out your mum when you told your mum that. She was like,
when I told her that.
She was like, no way, was she? She was freaked.
Because she said she could feel him around. I mean, she could feel him around to the state where the neighbours walked in on Mum, punching a photo of Dad on the wall, saying you can't have her. That's how strongly she felt his presence. Wow. So when I told her what I saw and what he said, she was like, oh my God, yeah.
It's funny you say that. My Arabian ancestor, great guy. I wish he'd. It was funny because I remember him talking to me a lot in my death experience. I mean, my near-death experience. But yeah, he was hanging out earlier in the year. That was a bit spooky. It's like, oh, you again.
Yeah, back for a second round.
It would be nice if, wouldn't it be nice if you could have a normal conversation with your dad and I could have a normal conversation with my ancestor? That would be delightful.
That would be, yeah, it'd be very cool.
Yeah, it's a normal conversation. Hi, how are you? Great, Nicole. How are you doing, Saskia? It's fascinating that now I just want to ask you, brain health and mindset, right? Again, we should do a whole live stream on near-death experiences, right? As we experience, but I want to ask you about brain health and mindset. Now, for those that are really, and I say this respectfully to our audience who we love, so like, share, comment if you come in. For those who are not, I won't say stuck in their ways, this is not their fault, but for those who are really locked into the way they think, who don't want to be locked into the way they think, right? Be it they're anxious, they're fearful, much like my older self, they know they've been brainwashed by the system, but they're having trouble undoing the brainwashing. What do you say to them to try and undo brainwashing and build their brain health and break their self-imposed mind prison?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, Ed, because look, essentially what I believe is that the starting point with any kind of success is a balanced brain. A balanced brain. When our brain works right, we work right, and when when our brain's working right, we're making good decisions. When we're making good decisions, we're healthier, we're wealthier, we have better relationships. So I really think that the balanced brain is something that's really missed in the medical profession. And look, let's face it, psychologists and psychiatrists, as great as they are, they're the only medical professionals that don't look at the organ they're treating. Why is that? I don't know. But what I do is brain health assessments to determine which areas of a person's brain are actually struggling. And then I design the brain optimization program to help them strengthen those areas of weakness. And it's a holistic approach that can involve diet, exercise, brain training exercises, hypnotherapy. There's a whole suite of tools that I use to help people reach their true potential.
Wow, incredible. I got to say, Nicole, you are amazing. And just so I understand, you've got a book, you sell one-on-one consulting, and now tell us about your book, actually. Tell us all about your book, please. Shoot.
So I started writing this book in the first Brisbane lockdown for COVID, and I wrote it in 9 months and published it on Amazon in January 2021. It's become a bestseller 3 times over in Australia. So very proud of this book. So this is my story, but it's also a bit of a self-help guide for anyone with brain injury or carers of people with brain injury or anyone going through a health crisis that needs a bit of inspiration. I've got it's kind of a special going at the moment where, if you are tired, brain fog, struggling with memory, focus, procrastination, any of those things, depression, any sort of brain issue, and want to know what's going on with your brain, if you go to optimizeyourbrain.com.au, optimizeyourbrain.com.au, basically you can do a brain assessment, and you get a one-on-one consultation with me as well to go through the results.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. And also to your so that one there, so they can do.
Yeah, there's a little QR code there if optimizeyourbrain.com.au.
Awesome. Optimizeyourbrain.com.au. And friends, so please scan that QR code. Also to connect with Nicole Yeates or me directly, we can set you up with that. And the other thing is as well, you're a big keynote speaker now. You was about 6 months ago, you broke into the keynote. Might have been earlier. It was about a year or so.
I did my first. I started off in more of a workshop keynote kind of arena last year in Noosa. And this year that's expanded further with, talks. Well, I've spoken to up to 700 people.
That's pretty good.
In one room so far this year, which was pretty exciting. And having a great time. Can
I ask, did you get the nerves, or were you like a Charlie's Angel? Were you just as cool as ice?
The one in October at Brisbane Convention Centre, I would say I was as cool as ice. It was, I'd been in the theatre for a while, sort of maybe an hour before I went on, so I was kind of feeling comfortable in the space and
so
forth.
whatever, just another day at work, who cares? Was that feeling?
That was
right?
200 to 300 people, but then in Sydney
Whatever.
it was 600 to 700. So for about the first 30 seconds, there was a bit of knee shaking going on in one leg, and
yeah. I haven't told you this. I probably shouldn't tell you this over LinkedIn Live, but because a lot of people say to me, Ed, do you ever get nervous and do you ever experience fear? I actually had a meltdown once. I remember one time I had a proper full-on anxious meltdown. So I was flying to Melbourne to run our business networking meetup, and it was our first one at a new venue. It's at Pullman, Melbourne on the Park, so it's very top of town. And I was flying business class down, and while I was on the plane, I had a full-on meltdown. I just went. I kept it all internal. I sort of just like this, but I was like, oh my God, I just absolutely, I'm not, and I hit it all. So I'm good at hiding stuff being an ex-federal agent, but I remember my heart just bouncing out of my chest. I was getting dizzy from all the anxiety. Just out of nowhere, I started sweating. And I literally was just breathing deeply, like just.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's funny. Have you had any cool, you used to, so it was funny, even I freaked out. How do you handle those big freakouts?
Yeah, look, you tapped into it just then, the deep breathing. I mean, we should all, at least once every 45 minutes, take a minute just to do a couple of deep breaths, because, when we're working, especially when we're sitting, we can forget to do those deep breaths, and those deep breaths help to calm our central nervous system. Yeah. And it's the easiest, cheapest way to get on top.
Yeah. Yeah, but I find you're right. It's when your nerves go crazy. And I remember that and it's kind of funny because one of the flight attendants knows me quite well. I'm frequent flyer. One of the flight attendants knows me quite well. And she goes, I actually said to her the next time I flew, oh, by the way, her name's Janine. I said, Janine, I actually had a complete meltdown, right? And she goes, really? She goes, you were just sitting there smiling, staring out the window. And I said, yeah, and I think you're right. I think when we have those freakouts for whatever reason, and that was a really good meltdown of mine, I just felt the deep breathing just sort of lowers the heart rate and gets it chilled out.
And that's because you're focusing on your breathing. And that saying, you get what you focus on, so true. You get what you focus on. If you're focused on the negative, you're going to attract negative. If you focus on the positive, you're going to attract positive. If you focus on the breathing, you're going to release the tension from the other stuff you were worried about.
Oh my God, that's why you're awesome. Friends, you've heard it straight from Nicole Yeates. Nicole Yeates, can I say that you're an amazing lady? Am I allowed to accuse you of being amazing?
You can accuse me of that as much as you like, Ed.
Yes, you are guilty as charged of being amazing. Guilty, guilty, guilty. And we sentence you to massive popularity and success. That's your punishment.
Oh, fantastic. All right. I embrace it all.
Yeah. No, but friends, seriously, Nicole Yeates, great friend of the channel. She's an amazing lady. She's someone you can trust. Nicole, I know you're a busy lady, and thank you for your time. Are there any closing thoughts or any pearls of wisdom you'd love to leave with us and our audience for today?
Well, if you treat your brain as your ally, you will be rewarded. So, just a few key tips. Hydrate your brain. Your brain is 80% liquid water, so it needs to be hydrated to work optimally. Exercise regularly. Don't smoke. Don't eat processed sugar, and focus on growing your brain. Surround yourself with people that you want to be like, and that inspire you and you learn from. I can go on and on and on and on.
Well said. And just quickly, Felisa Moffat, we love you, Felisa. Felisa just tuned in on Facebook, so big wave to you, Felisa Moffat. We love your work. There you go. Nicole, thank you for your time. Everyone, thank you for watching. Please like, repost, comment. Make sure you connect with Nicole on LinkedIn and more. Thank you so much, Nicole. We love your work.
My pleasure.
Bye, all.
Ciao for now.